Peace and Black Power family. This is your host, Raheem Shabazz, and today we have a special guest that's going to be on the Necessary Blackness podcast. This is an individual that continues to push for justice, and she has continued to push for justice for the unnecessary and brutal murder of her father and justice for other people. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Emerald Gardner. How are you doing, sister?
I'm doing okay. Thank you so much for asking.
Now, I want to get right into it. I want to, first of all, thank you for appearing on this podcast. And then I want to thank you for your book. You have an excellent book out. I read it. And usually I'm able to read a book in one sitting, but I had to keep constantly going back. And, you know, the paragraphs and the wording was so vivid. It was almost like watching a movie.
Mm.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell you that, sister. I really enjoyed your book. Um, Now I want to start right from the dreadful day, you know, that will always be a dreadful day in Black America's history that happened on July 17th, 2014, when your father was brutally murdered by the New York State Police Department. Can you walk us through that day? What was it like for you?
I actually start the book on that day because it was like that was the most dramatic and traumatic day
Mm-hmm.
ever. I really feel like a lot of my problems started there. And that it was a regular day in the middle of the summer. And it was just like when I got the phone call from my mother, it was just like it was kind of like a rabbit hole. You just keep going down into the rabbit hole, and then you finding out more information as it comes, and you're listening to what the reports are coming from the doctors, or the police at the scene, or from people that seen things, and then you get the video. And then
Mm.
me personally, I never watched the video in its entirety until I was face to face in the courtroom with the officer. That was my first time actually watching the video in its entirety.
Wow. Now, in your book, you know, you say you started your book with this scenario of what happened on July 17th, 2014, right? Um, your book, the title of it is called Finding Your Voice. When was it that you found your voice?
I would definitely have to say it was the moment that I lost it in front of the feds. We were approaching the statute of limitation. I was super emotional going through 5 years of being media exploited, organizationally exploited. It was just like a lot of things were happening. And when the federal government came back with the decision that they were not going to indict the officer, it was just like, here we go again, like another set of people, because we already went through the grand jury, the police officers representation, and going through all of these channels, and watching the video in front of the world, and having the world watch the video. You're not going to indict, so it was just like, what did you review? What did you see that we didn't see?
Mhm.
Like, or what did you not see? So I lost it, and I just went off in front of the courthouse, and I was just like, this is the moment where y'all gonna hear my voice. And it's not going to be nice, it's not going to be calm, it's not going to be sweet, because apparently y'all don't understand what's going on and what's happening, and to not get that indictment is devastating. It's definitely hitting rock bottom. And I already lost my father, I lost my sister, I'm taking care of her kids, I'm working, I'm trying to be an activist, still trying to make sure that my father's legacy lives on, still trying to make sure that my mom is okay, still trying to make sure my siblings are okay. I was dealing with a lot. And I was just like, you know what? Y'all gonna hear me today, and y'all gonna figure this out. Because if y'all don't, it's going to be a problem. And then after that video, I just did a lot of working, a lot of media, a lot of getting out, a lot of pulling up, went to Gracie Mansion and pulled up on de Blasio, went off on him, went over here. I was like, you're not telling me what I want to hear. I went off on them. So a lot of what people experienced was me being angry, and I had every
Mhm.
right to. And
Absolutely.
I don't feel ashamed for it. If people don't forgive me for it, if people don't feel like they feel like I'm just the absolute worst person in the world because of how I reacted to my father being killed on national TV, I just have no more sorries. I have no more sorries. I it's done. And we got the CCRB trial, and we got him fired. And that's all we can get. It was a win in some ways, but that's pretty much all we got.
Now I want to walk you back on when you started talking. You said the federal government, right?
Hmm.
And you're talking about the Department of Justice. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Initially, this was under President Obama, who's in charge of the Department of Justice, and Eric Holder, correct?
Absolutely.
And then when the new administration came in, was the statute of limitation over when Biden and them came in? No, right?
So the statute of limitation was, yeah, no, Obama was in, and then he had 2 more years. So because my sister was still alive when the
Mm-hmm.
federal government started investigating, and when we went to a town hall where Obama was there, she personally went up to him and was like, "What are you going to do about my father's case?" And literally all he did was send paperwork. I appreciate the Obamas for mentioning my father's name, for, saying it, keeping his name in the media, but we needed more. She needed
Yeah.
more. So, I'm not knocking what anybody did, but she just needed more. She needed more action. And that's why she's not here today.
Yeah, a lot of people believe, including myself, that Obama dropped the ball because this happened under his administration, and there's no way that you're going to leave it to the next administration because the next administration was Donald Trump, and we know nothing was going to happen on that watch.
And I forgot the name of the man that he put in charge of the Justice Department because it wasn't the same person.
It was
Um,
Eric Holder. Eric Holder. He wound up retiring, so it was somebody else, correct?
yeah, it was somebody else after that. Because Eric Holder supported. Everybody supported. Everybody said that they supported, but we need that paperwork. We need that
Yeah.
paper trail. And Erica needed that paper trail, and it devastated her. It broke her heart. She was not. Me, I give people grace. I try to give people grace. Erica didn't give people grace. She needed action. She needed to see something happen for our father. And that's because she watched the video. I feel like if I would have watched the video, I would have suffered the same fate as her. And that's not even a joke. That's not even something that I say like, oh, it's just playing around. It's like, no, like if I would have seen the video at that time and watched it in its entirety, my
Mm.
mind would have definitely went there. So I had to, like, after she died, I had to take a step back and literally save my life. Like I was
Now,
literally tipping the edge.
now,
So
for
it was a lot.
those that don't know, let people know who was your sister and how did she die.
Erica was my oldest sister, and she was my oldest sister, my daughter, my father's oldest daughter, and we have the same mother and father. And she, like, after all of this, Erica, she protested every Tuesday and Thursday for like 2 years in front of the police station where the officer worked. She took bridges. She pulled up on Obama. She pulled up on the mayor. She did a lot of work after my father died. And just 3 years after she died, after my father died, she passed away of a massive heart attack
Mm.
at 27 with no
Wow,
prior heart health issues.
wow,
So
that
this
that.
literally broke her heart, and she actually had 3 heart attacks. So it was just a lot, and then you can see the change. Like when I would look at her, I'm like, please stop watching the video. Like, let's figure out something else. Let's figure out what we can do. Let's figure out this. Like, let's hug some trees. Let's be calm. Like I was trying to like reel her in, like come, like let's try to calm down and really strategize and come up with a plan because all these people are coming at her. I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to help you. So she's spreading herself so thin, and nobody's stopping to realize that she needs help in
Mm-hmm.
the way that doesn't mean putting her in front of a camera because
Yeah.
she's strong and she has a big voice and all of this stuff. Nobody in her life, and I will say this, including myself, nobody in her life took her by the shoulders and said, sit down. We need to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody did it. And nobody cared about doing it. And after she died, I realized that. It was too late, but I realized that. And that's why I talk about in the book it was too late to help her because nobody looked at the signs. Nobody looked at the symptoms. For me, it was just like, dang, like she don't want me around because maybe I remind her too much of my father or whatever. So like we had a lot of anger issues. So she was just like, dang, like I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I'm just like, I still got to go to work. I still have to take care of Kaylee. You have a constant babysitter. I don't have a constant babysitter. It was just all of those battles
Yeah.
of those things. So she felt like, oh, you don't care. You're not doing anything. And I'm just like, I just physically cannot. And she she died with that mentality, like I have to be out there, I have to do it. When in all actuality, we don't have to do anything we don't want to. And if it's
Yeah.
just too much emotionally and it's breaking us down, we have to stop. There's
Well,
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know we
yeah,
want justice, but you have to stop.
let me say this. First of all, I want to offer you the condolence, for the passing of your father as well as your sister. And many people don't know, after your sister transitioned, you took on the responsibility to raise her kids as well. So now your burden got even deeper.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I want to go back to your book, Finding Your Voice. Was it difficult for you to be vulnerable and for you to, just lay it all on the table and talk about your personal life?
It was extremely hard because a lot of people really don't know. We had issues before my father died, so I had my own issues, my own teenage
Mm-hmm.
trauma that I had to deal with, and I felt like it was important to um to highlight those things. Like, a lot of things happen, with going through people, going through family, going through transition. And when I decided to write the book, I said I'm gonna write it myself. But then it started to be emotional for me, and I was just like, I would start writing, then I get emotional, I start crying, close the book, don't deal with it. But then when I got with Monet, who is somebody who's known me since I was 10 years old, she's been around me. She understands, at least a little bit. She doesn't understand me completely because we bump heads a lot, but it's because I'm a strong personality. I cannot be persuaded easy,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a problem with people who always want to be in control. Like, I'm fine with taking a back seat, but it's just like when somebody tries to take the front seat in my car, it's just like, come on, now you're doing a little bit too much. But with her, it was just like I could be vulnerable. She knows my story, she knows my life, she knows my family. So it was a little bit easier to be vulnerable with her. And when I met Atan Thomas through working, doing activism work. He reached out to me for All Star Weekend, and we've been like family ever since. When he signed on to be a co-author, because I have two co-authors. When he signed on, it was like he saw the political growth. He saw the activist growth, and I tell him I don't like to be called an activist, but it is what it is. So I tell him, like, he knows the growth from when I don't want to speak in front of cameras. I don't know any of this. He's experienced me, my siblings, my mom, so he understood a little bit more. And I think
Yeah.
that they did a great job putting it together and telling it in my voice. Um, and I think that it was very, very hard because I'm sure that they have many of recordings of me crying because I had to, like, hold on, let me get this cry out, and then let's get back to work. It was a little bit more easier because I had people who were understanding, who are like, okay, if you need to take a break, all right, just give me 5 minutes and then we'll come back to it. Or, just with him letting the publishers know, like, listen, we want this to come out, but we want it to be right. So don't rush. They didn't really give me deadlines. They gave me a lot of room to just be vulnerable, lay it all out, and just go through those emotions. And it was a tough experience. It was really, really tough. But I think that having that support for people that know me, as opposed to getting a writer that does not know me at all.
All right. Now we still talking on the subject of the book. For those that are just joining us, I am talking to Emerald Gardner, and she is the daughter of Eric Garner. Now, your book, what is one of the main things that you think or you want readers to walk away with after reading this book?
I want people to allow survivors of police brutality and state violence a little bit more grace, a lot more support, a lot more resources, um, a lot more empathy, and just understand that we have to be handled a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of depression, anxiety, mental health issues, it shows up as different things. And for me, it showed up as anger. So, I got to go back to all those people and be like, listen, my bad. I was a little messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you guys to understand that we are people at the end of the day. We still got to go through life. After I took my sister's kids, it was like, I thought I was going to get help. People were going to be like, just, I got you, sis. I thought they were gonna be like, I got you and the kids, and I'm gonna help you out. Like, let me do that. And I didn't get that. But I just want people to understand, like, just understand your words mean a lot. So when you read my book and you see like I went through these struggles, I'm not the only one going through it. I sit with people every Monday and they go through the same exact things that I'm going through and they can absolutely relate. And I just want people to handle us with a little bit more care.
All right, absolutely. Now you spoke about asking individuals to give those that are victims of police brutality and state-sanctioned murder by the police. You ask that they give them grace, right? I want to pivot to what is now being talked about in the news, and that is Black Lives Matter. Not the movement. We're going to talk about the organization, and there's allegations of $90 million being misappropriated, right, by this organization. Not every chapter of Black Lives Matter, let's get that correct. It's just the leadership of the Black Lives Network. What are your thoughts on that?
I have really strong thoughts on that. I feel like, things could be done a lot differently. I think
Mm-hmm.
that people can respond a lot differently, and it doesn't always have to be this blow up. Like let's get the details. Let's find out. Let's get the public records. Let's get let's. I want to see. Like, so you're saying that this $90 million went here and here? Where did it go? What what I seen that they said that somebody hired their cousin to do security or brother or whatever. Like, is that a crime or
The
is it just
amount, no,
unlikely? Is it,
yeah,
or was it the amount? Like you said, was it the amount?
yeah, it was the amount. The
I don't
amount
know. I
was
don't read the stories.
crazy.
I'm just gonna be honest. I touch on it in my book. Everybody, they do their own thing. My personal experience, I've never worked with anybody. I don't. I haven't worked with anybody that I can recall that worked for that organization in
Mm-hmm.
particular. I don't recall. Maybe Erica did. Maybe my grandmother did. There's 7 of us in my father's
Yeah,
lawsuit, so everybody did a lot of things different. Like we're scattered. We're not all working under the same umbrella. Everybody's scattered all over the place. So I don't know. I don't know. My personal experience is I have worked with organizations that's misappropriated funds, and I've seen it after the fact, and I was just like, oh no, y'all are not doing the right thing. Let me just like back up because I'm not gonna just be like, oh, let me go to the news and do this and do that. I don't have no concrete proof. I just see that I don't like the way that things are going, and I've been around organizations that are doing the right thing. So when I see organizations that aren't doing the right thing, I just back away from them because I can't control what you're doing. But I know that organizations get money for aligning themselves with victims of police brutality. And when organizations get said money, victims are left behind. So I can say that from my experience and from experiencing other victims. Is it right? Absolutely not. And at the end of the day, they have to deal with what they have to deal with, which is now being publicized that it
that's
was
right.
misappropriated, that this is not being done right. So clearly, there's
Absolutely.
a missing link, and either they're going to fix it, apologize, try to hold themselves accountable, and move forward because we have a bigger agenda to get to, or people are just going to be focused on the $90 million and blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. Are we giving them a chance to reconcile? Are we giving them a chance to make it right, or are we just canceling these people? I don't like cancel culture. I think that we should give people an opportunity. Now Kanye, I don't know. I'm kind of done with him. But I think that other people, they deserve a second chance because I was a person who deserved a second chance. People who were incarcerated deserve a second chance. People
Absolutely.
who were wrongly accused and went to jail and now can't find employment, they deserve a second chance. So I believe everybody deserves a second chance, but I think that that second chance comes with accountability. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no chances without holding yourself accountable. You have to say, I was wrong. What I did at the time, maybe you might have thought it was right, but now we know that it's wrong. What are you going to do to fix it? So I just say everybody should have an opportunity for a second chance. Now, what they do with that second chance is on you, but I don't really like to just, oh, this person is canceled, that person is canceled. Let's see what you are. You going to go and hide and let the media do what they do? Or are you going to stand up and use your voice to say this is what's true and this is what's not true? And that's why I wrote the book, because there's a lot of things that are not true. So I put it in the book like this is my truth, and I think that
But
they should be the same.
so you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to find out that truth, make sure you get that book, Finding Your Voice. And I just want to say, in regards to the Black Lives Matter situation, this is my personal opinion. Um, there is no second grace for them because they have not took accountability. They have denied all the allegations,
Mm.
even after proof was presented, because you know you have to file
Yeah,
every
you have to.
year of where the money was spent. So I just think that we as a people, we have to start vetting people beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
before, and well, not even people, organizations beforehand, and look at their track record, and vet them and see if they are a good match.
And
So
talk to
that's
the
one,
victims.
yeah,
Talk to
that's
us.
one organization, right? But you yourself, you have an organization and you have a track record. So I think people need to support individuals such as yourself. Now, I want you to tell everybody about your organization, I Can't Breathe Inc., and what it is they can do to financially support you or to support you in any manner that you deem fitting for your organization.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your stance on it. And I enjoy that people are able to give their opinions and talk about it, because I didn't follow the story, so
Mm-hmm.
so I just wanted to clear that up. I didn't follow the my details, so I really didn't know that the proof was there, and nobody came out. But anyway, like you said, accountability is the key. So yeah, so like I said, my organization, We Can't Breathe Incorporated, it was created to support young people in mental health issues, because clearly there was a lot of mishandling of mental health, in issues. So my organization focuses on that, and how people can help is we have a hotline that is after 5 p.m. It's called After Five for Justice, which is a hotline for young people that can call. They can call the number, and they can just get somebody to talk to at any time after 5 o'clock, from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. So we are looking to do just check-ins. Like, we just want to check in, make sure you're all right, make sure everything is good, and just get in partnership with people who can provide resources. So no, we're not licensed therapists. We're not clinicians or anything like that, but we're just somebody to check in, an extra resource to give you the extra push to go through your weeks and your days. And we also have a youth development program, job development program,
Okay.
which is where we'll help you with your LinkedIn, we'll help you with your resume, we'll help you fill out applications, teach you how to fill out applications, excuse me, actually figure out how the algorithms work. So when you do an application and you send it in, they look for keywords. So you got to know what those keywords are, so that when you put it in your resume gets spotlighted. So like things like that is what we teach the youth, so that they'll get hired for the job. And not only that, we'll stick with them to make sure that they're going to work, make sure that they're making their schedule, make sure that what did you do with your money this week? Do you have lunch for every day? Do you have transportation? Did you pay your phone bill? Can you wait till next paycheck for this bill? Just making sure that they have the
Yeah.
financial knowledge to keep the job. And then we also have Hearts for Justice, which is our mental health pillar, which is where I would love to connect with Black mental health specialists who understand what we're going through. Because I have a group every Monday, and I would like to bring in Black mental health specialists to help out my people who have lost their sons to incarceration, correction officers. The young woman, her son was killed in Rikers Island.
Yeah.
And she's fighting for it, and solitary confinement, and I'm supporting her through that, helping her and qualified immunity. We work with legislation, so we do a lot of policy, a policy work. So we went hard for the Eric Garner law, the Stephon Clark law, and the Andrew Kearse law. Those three laws, we went hard for those. Now we're going into the federal laws. So we're working with Kirsten Gillibrand. We're bringing a lot of the Black people, Senator Hasty. We're bringing all the Black people together, and we're like, listen, we need policies on mental health. We need policies on job development. We need policies on, how we're going to actually structure things. And the cool thing about my organization is we have a fiscal sponsor. So the money doesn't go to one person. And I
Yeah.
think that that's where a lot of people get it twisted. Like, I just see a lot of money, but it's like there's checks and balances. You got to have a payroll system. You got to have a way to track the spending. You got to have a way. You got to have systems. So we built the organization on having those systems. And the groundwork is that you have to volunteer before you even get a salary.
Yeah, now you said a key thing, and I think it's very vital, especially dealing with the youth. I help out with a lot of youth, and the resume. A lot of them need help with those resumes. So that's a very, very vital service. Now, you said that there's a number that individuals can call. I want you to give that number, but before you give that number, I want to ask you. You said that they can call between the hours of 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. Is there a particular reason for those hours?
Absolutely, because those were the hours that I was in trouble. So
I
those
knew
were the
you was gonna
hours
say
where
that.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I can't go outside because I have kids in the house. I can't go to a therapist because they're closed, but I could pick up the phone, I could call somebody to help me work through those issues. So
Mm,
we're putting a system in place, and bear with us, it's only three of us. Literally only three of us. But we are diligent, we're consistent. So we encourage people to call the number, and it might be 3 o'clock in the morning. You might have to leave a message, somebody will get back to you in an hour or whatever, but we'll make sure that we're here, we'll touch base with you. And I have a wonderful counselor, Diane Waterman. She is amazing, she is consistent. She literally does family counseling for me once a week, with me and my children, because we needed to find a balance in our home. And
mhm,
I would call her in the middle of the night and she'll get up and we'll get on FaceTime. She's in her rollers and she puts her glasses on. She got a house coat and she's like, what happened? Let's talk about it. And like, she would stay on the phone with me for hours. So that type of support I really needed from somebody that was unbiased, that didn't know anything that was going on in my life, didn't know
mhm,
anybody in my life, because it's like, you can't let certain things out because you think somebody's going to go talk about it.
mhm,
And that's the part that always hurt me, is that as if I'm being vulnerable with you, I'm telling you my deepest darkest fears, and then now I hear it coming out of somebody else's mouth. So I wanted to make this a safe space that you could do virtually, or you could do it like video, or you could do it on the phone, to
mhm.
just talk, because you have to get those out, because if you keep it inside your mind, it's gonna keep circulating, and you have to get it out.
Now, do you have that number?
Yes, the number is 908-858-2432.
Say
Nine
it
zero
one more.
eight 858-2432.
Okay, okay. So now, is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you that you would like to say or leave our people with in your last closing words?
I would just like to thank you for your support. Thank you for your questions. Your questions
Hmm.
are really, intuitive. I appreciate that you read the book. I could see that people are enjoying it. I'll be sure to shine your copy. I don't know where you are, but I'm going to be traveling.
I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, well, when I come to Atlanta, I'm definitely gonna touch base. I'm going to sign your book, and all the books for your youth. So I'll definitely make sure, because
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that this book was an easy read for youth as well.
Hmm.
Because our young people, they need love and they need support.
Absolutely.
And after
I,
this quarantine, my babies are struggling, so I need people that are going to actually care for them. And I appreciate you for working with the youth people and with the young people, and being a support for them, because when I was young I needed it, and now I know that they need it. But my website is www.wecanbreathe.net. I have all of my book tour and everything up there, the links and everything is up there. And people can reach out to me, because I want to start a book club, and we're going to start with my book. And I want to start a book club starting next month. So I wanted to make sure everybody got the books, and then we can really have deep conversation about it, because the feedback for me is important, because this is my first real project.
hmm.
Me just putting it out there, and I want to know if people really want to read it. Like, and if it's like, oh, okay, this is whack. But when you say like it sounds like a movie, that's
Yeah.
what I was going for.
Oh
I'm
no,
trying to
yeah,
be a movie star.
it definitely sounds like a movie. Now, somebody in the chat, we got a couple of people in the chat. Someone asked that if you can say the website, but say it slow this time. They say you said it too fast.
I talk fast. I'm sorry. I get super nervous. It's www.wecan'tbreathe.net.
www.wecan'tbreathe.net, and that's where you can find out the tour information, where you can purchase the books and everything else. Well, Emerald Garner, it was a pleasure interviewing you. I appreciate you taking the time out. And if there's anything that we can do to help and assist you, we'll do all we have and all within our power. And I encourage everybody to make sure you get this book, Finding My Voice by Emerald Garner. Peace and Black Power family. This is your host, Raheem Shabazz, and we are out of here. Salute.